You have found the weekly online show that gives you everything you need to know about the world of motorsports within the boundaries of the state of Alabama. Welcome in to the Alabama Racer, presented by Green Oil Company, your local VP Racing Fuels and Additives distributor for the better part of the state. I'm your host, Jim Jacobs, and it's my privilege to drive you through the next 30-plus minutes of all the action that's going on around our state in the world of racing. And from the looks of things over here, I should have locked the front door tonight.
Hey, that's me. I'm Tim Rozelle. I'm coming off of 2 wins in a row at Talladega Short Track. I drive the number 25 super late model VP Racing, Mike Rogers for Congress race car, and I'm here to help Jim with the show this week, and I'm gonna do a better job than Cruz did.
Well, if you can't tell already, this week's show is going to be lots of fun. And speaking of this week's show, let's take a look at what's coming up on the Alabama Racer. I sit down in studio with Anniston, Alabama late model racer Tim Rozelle. We cover his 30-plus years in the sport and talk everything late model, from shocks to tires to engines to tracks to chassis, and even relive a few fun moments we've shared together over the years. We've got the racing calendar. We'll tell you who won at the various tracks across the state last weekend and look ahead to what's on tap at each track this Friday and Saturday night. And we'll close the show out by checking in on a couple of guys who race outside the borders, but we're interested in them because they're from here in Alabama. Mobile's Thomas Moose Prater is on the ARCA circuit this weekend at Toledo, Ohio. We'll tell you what's ahead for the Moose there. And Brett Holmes has been traveling with his pro late model car out in the Midwest. We'll tell you what's up with the past 2 weekends of action for Brett. That's all straight ahead, but the crew chief is telling me I need to pull the belts tight, make sure the steering wheel is snapped in, and check the gauges one more time before they wave the green flag. Give me a minute or two to do that while you watch this, and we'll get underway with the Alabama Racer presented by Green Oil Company straight ahead.
VP Racing Fuels introduces Madditives, fuel additives developed by the mad scientists. Race fuel technology for your daily driver.
VP Racing Fuels and Additives are available at Green Oil Company of Oxford.
Anniston Storage is one of the area's finest household and commercial storage facilities. Fenced, well lit with security cameras, this multi-unit facility can meet all of your short or long-term storage needs. Anniston Storage is safely accessible 24 hours with an electric gate and keypad entry, each unit securely locked to protect your valuables. Sizes available are 10 by 10 up to 10 by 40 feet. We also offer outside storage for boats, campers, trailers, or motorhomes. Find everything you need at our website, AnnistonStorage.com. You can even reserve your unit and pay your bill. Anniston Storage, 3100 Red Morris Parkway in Anniston.
Spring is finally here. If you're looking for a new car, truck, or SUV,
or just want something more dependable that's affordable to drive,
then come see us at Avery Auto Sales of Anniston, 410 South Quintard Avenue, home of certified cars, trucks, and SUVs.
Don't pay high new car prices. Come see us at Avery Auto Sales in Oxford on Highway 78.
we even can offer an additional 100,000-mile certified warranty.
And yes, we can get you financed even if you have poor credit.
Spring into Avery Auto Sales on Highway 78 in Oxford and our new location on Quintard in Anniston.
Welcome back to the Alabama Racer. It's our pleasure to welcome into the show this week number 25 super late model driver. Well, driver maybe, okay? He's my buddy, Tim Rozelle. Good to see you, man.
How you
Glad
doing,
you could
Jim?
come in.
Thank you.
All right, let's talk racing.
All right.
I know you can handle that.
I think so.
Okay, because how long you been doing it?
Probably around 33 years, something like that.
Tim, you're not that old.
I'm pretty old.
So, how long you been doing the late models?
I've been doing them since 1996 because I won the championship in '96.
Yeah.
First late model championship.
Got you. Now, tell me how you got started. What was your transition from just maybe going out to the racetrack to saying, hey, I want to do this?
Well, my cousin, Gerald Lovell, he used to race, and he bought a car and he let me pack the track down one week in it, and that was it. I was hooked.
So you went from a packer car to a race car driver.
I went from going slow in a Le Mans to racing the next week.
So what class did you start in? How'd you get started?
I started out in the bomber class. Had an old '72 Chevelle with a 402 big block in it. That thing wouldn't turn, but it'd fly down the straightaway.
Not turning's not a good thing, though.
That's not a good thing.
So did you do it all yourself, or did you have people, help you with the car? Or, I mean, just, how did it all transpire?
Well, I've always had help. In the early days, I've done a lot by myself, you know, but I had a lot of help with motors and stuff like that. But, I have some really good help now.
Yeah, you do. And you got some really fast race cars now, too. So you started out in Bomber. Where'd you go next?
Well, I run Bomber a few years. I think they just kind of did away with the class. I moved up to Sportsman class and drove for Donald Lackey. First time I run Sportsman.
Mm-hmm. I know Donald.
That's Bubba Lackey's dad.
Right.
And they're running real good right now, too. Just kind of moved up from there and got. After that, me and Jerry Lindsay bought a car together, and it kind of transpired from there,
Now, was Talladega Short Track I know it's your home track now, but was it your first place to race?
It was my first place to race. I have run at some other tracks, I used to run Brompton a long time ago when that track was open.
Mm-hmm.
Green Valley run a few times, and I even been to Hollis Crossroad once or twice in the day.
Well, I know you've been to East Alabama before.
Yeah, I have. I run East Alabama. I actually won the state championship race in open wheel one year down there, and had a good run that year. And we made the National 100 a couple times, and I didn't run that great, but we made it.
Yeah. Well, we'll come back to some of the bigger races in just a minute. Now, so now you're driving the super late model car. I'm curious, at what point do you feel like you kind of turned the corner as a driver? I mean, was it early on, or was it after you'd driven the late models a while? When did you get to the point to where you felt like, hey, I can do this. I'm pretty decent at it as long as the car's right?
Well, every time you run good, you think you're better. You get better every time that the car is good. But, this last few years, last 3 or 4 years, when I've been driving with JW Motorsports, and the Bill, the setup guy, he is like phenomenal on setup. So it really makes the drivers look good. And a lot of times when a driver wins, there's a lot behind getting the driver out front. So, we get all the glory, but there's a lot of other people that does most of the work.
I don't think people understand, Tim, and maybe you can talk about this just for a few minutes. I don't think people really understand how technical racing a late model car is if you're really going fast against good competition.
It's very technical.
Yeah.
We're doing stuff in the car that you wouldn't really even think about, like adjusting brakes. And, you do a lot of stuff. You do most of the stuff before you get out there.
Right.
And you don't change gears. So, that's one thing we don't have to do compared to some of the other kind of racing. But you do adjust a brake maybe every other lap. If you see a car starting to get tight, they can adjust the brakes a little bit and free the car up some. And just, we're always checking gauges and doing stuff. But mainly we do everything before we go out.
And what about things like, you see all these guys cutting and edging tires and stuff. I mean, what's that all about?
That's really important, is you groove your tires. You buy these tires, they have no grooves in them.
Right.
So you groove everything, and then you sop them a certain way to build heat. And like later in the summer when you don't want to build heat, you may not sop them quite as deep. And it's just according to how you want that tire to work,
And that's all dependent upon when you're racing during the day at a track, and then, how the track is. I know a lot of times you can go out to Talladega Short Track and, you might see a day during the race, like maybe during the Ice Bowl, if it gets off before sunset, and, everybody's around the bottom and that black's in there, and then it gets loose up around, it gets sticky up around the cushion. And, it just, reading the racetrack to me and knowing what the racetrack is going to do seems to be so important.
It's very, very important. In fact, like last year, I chose the right tire. We chose the right tire, and we won the Ice Bowl.
Right.
And then this year, we chose the same tire that we had last year and was going backwards.
Out to lunch.
And that was the wrong tire to choose this year because the track, it was a little cooler, and it ended up being a later in the day race. So we learned a little bit from this year. And tire choice is very critical.
Now, to keep costs down, places like Talladega Short Track have gone to a tire rule. How does that play into like the weekly shows? I mean, don't they dictate what you can run?
Well, you can run, they tell us what brand we can run, and we can run about 4 compounds, but there are tires out there that are cheaper than what we're buying that are just as good, but they won't let us run them, so maybe we'll work on that.
All right, you heard it from my buddy right here. We're going to work on the tire bill thing a little bit. All right, let's talk about big races. Okay. Of course, you've won the Ice Bowl. You finally got that last year. Was that your first one?
That was the first Ice Bowl, yes.
Yeah, I know.
The biggest race I won.
Is that your biggest race today?
Yes.
How proud are you of that? I mean, be open and don't be humble. How big an accomplishment is it to win the Ice Bowl?
That's like a career, a career goal if that's your home track, to win the Ice Bowl. And we were dominant at that race too, so it wasn't like
you led every lap, didn't you?
Led every lap. We were the fastest car just about all weekend, and really had a good car.
Now, for folks that are watching the show from maybe other parts in the state or around the country and don't get it, the Ice Bowl in itself is a phenomenon.
Yes.
It takes place, in my opinion, too close to too close to New Year's Day, but it's usually within the first week of New Year's, and nobody's racing anywhere, and people tow in for this thing all over I can remember a guy coming in from Arizona one time to race in one of the other classes. And the place is just jam-packed with race cars.
There was a guy parked beside us from Missouri, or I think he was from Missouri, and it looked like he had a $300 car. So, I mean, you just never know.
It cost you more to come than his car was worth, probably.
I'm sure. People just want to race.
Yeah, and the Ice Bowl has kind of become that cultish type first of the season event, hadn't it?
Yeah,
I mean, really all around the country, but especially for this part of the South.
That's right. For this area, it's really a good race to go to. It's a lot of fun. It's during the day, and a lot of people don't like day races, and a lot of tracks won't run day races, but Talladega does a real good job with that, and especially since their their concession stand burnt down this year. They pulled it off really well.
That happened between Christmas and New Year's, I guess it was, and the folks at the track, you heard us talk about this on the show a few weeks ago, because they've got the new one finally up and running now, I think, and they basically had to pull off their biggest event of the year within about 10 days of losing everything. Everything.
Out of a little trailer.
Yeah, and from what I understand, it went off without a hitch.
Yeah, it went well. It was good.
And of course, you didn't win it. So
everything was good until they dropped the green flag, and I started going backwards, and I finished 9th, and I started 2nd. So other than that was a good day.
Here's a question for you, Tim. As a driver, and you're in that situation, is there anything you can do?
I really didn't feel like there was anything I could do in that particular race, because the tire we had on should have worked. If we'd have run an hour earlier, it would have worked.
Yeah.
But
that's how sensitive these race cars are to temperature change in the racetrack and what the racetrack's going to do. Normally, for the Ice Bowl feature, they're lining that thing up on the front stretch right about the time the sun's starting to hit just above the top of the trees, right?
That's right.
And hopefully we're at green flag, before the sun's down, and it's just about to get dark when the race is over. That's right. If you time it right.
If you time it right.
But we all know how dirt track races are. They don't always go according to schedule. But so what happened this year?
Well,
you just missed it, huh?
I just missed it. We run 50. I think we run 50 green flag laps, and I led about 10 laps of it, but I just couldn't hold on. The car wouldn't work, But, the car was working, the tires just wasn't hooking up. We come in, the tire looks brand new, and it should have been wore out. So
yeah. All right, we're going to grab a quick break. We're under caution. We're going to duck in for some gas and some new tires for Roz's car. When we come back, we'll talk more about the late model race car of today and Tim's thoughts on where late model racing is headed and maybe some of the other tracks around the state that he's been to kind of give us his thoughts on that. That is all straight ahead when we continue with our guest Tim Rozelle on the Alabama Racer next.
VP Racing Fuels introduces Madditives, fuel additives developed by the mad scientists. Race fuel technology for your daily driver.
VP Racing Fuels and Additives are available at Green Oil Company of Oxford.
Need a place to keep your tools?
Or a place to get away from the wife. Whatever your needs are, we got a barn or a carport for you.
With rent-to-own options and no credit checks, we can help you take home the right barn or carport today.
And with 4 different locations, we're just a short drive away.
So come see us in Glen Cove, Moody, Asheville, or Attala, and let our family help your family get the barn or carport you deserve.
The tire, arguably the most important part of a car. Without it, we could not stop, we could not go, we couldn't drive at all. They come in all sizes, brands, treads, prices, and ratings. How do you know which is the right tire for you? Thankfully, there's Cobb Automotive, and they have been answering this question since 1981. With a large selection of brands and sizes in stock, you are sure to get the right tire for the right price. Cobb Automotive, located on Highway 21 across from Walmart in Oxford, and 2001 Quintard Avenue in Anniston.
Welcome back into the Alabama Racer alongside my special guest driver, Tim Rozelle. I'm your host, Jim Jacobs, and let's get right back to it. Talk to me about the late model race car of today. What's the hot setup right now?
Well, the best thing you can do, which I don't want to give away secrets, but it's probably no secret, but the best thing you can do is buy a good shock package. And have somebody that knows how to adjust the shocks, which is not me. It's my crew.
Yeah,
you know,
your guys.
Yeah, Bill and Chad and Matt and Larry and Tony, and I mean they all do a really good job, and I mean it shows on the track, you know, that they do a good job. But Bill is phenomenal on setup stuff. But you got to find the right shock company. Unfortunately, ours is out of business, but we still have a good shock package right now.
Now, who were you using?
We were using Shy Racing Shocks.
Yeah.
And he's just moved over to Avco, so he's coming out with some Avco stuff, and it's going to be real good. We're running Olin shocks right now.
I got you. Now, is Carrera still in it? I know that's a name I remember from back in the day when I used to go to the track on a regular basis.
I'm really not sure. I remember the shocks, but I don't see anybody with them.
So what about chassis and stuff? I mean, has anybody got the hot race car? I mean, you know, one year it was Barry Wright, and, you know, I think Cruz runs a CVR car, and who's...
Well, I run a Warrior race car. And
Warrior's one of them.
I love the Warrior race car. We have the 25 car, which is my car, and we have in the same JW Motorsports, we have a couple of the 6 cars, and all 3 Warrior cars are all real equal. But for me, the Warrior car is the best. There are some other makes out there.
What about motors?
Well, motors are... It's according to where you're going to run. Mm-hmm. I guess if you go run a big racetrack, you need a big motor. And if you run in Talladega short track, you may not need that big of a motor. So we don't have a big cubic inch motor. We have a small cubic inch motor, but it just works good. It's, you know, it's good for qualifying. It's good for the race. When it dries out, we're still good, and that's a big deal on it.
I would guess at Talladega, a lot of guys that tow in with big motors might have a problem getting it hooked up to the racetrack, and that's maybe why a smaller motor is a little better on a week-to-week basis?
Yeah, when it dries out. Yeah. Now, in hot laps or something, you'll see some of these guys come in there and they look lightning fast, and they may qualify good, and then sometimes when the race comes along, they're not as good as they're supposed to be.
Now that's where it comes back to that experience. You know,
that
guy goes out there and he's smoking fast, and he thinks, man, I got to, you know, send me to the pay window. And like you said, they drop the flag and you go.
Yeah, but the better the setups are becoming, the more they're hooking up the bigger motors on the drier racetracks. So
Yeah.
it's really amazing how we're almost like we're on asphalt now when it's dirt, when it's dry dirt. So, you know, it's really fun.
Now, what's the story on the 6 car versus the 25 car? I mean, why aren't they all the same number?
Well, the 25 car is my car.
Right.
And
I knew that.
I'm fortunate enough that they let me keep it at their shop, and Bill he keeps the car, he keeps the technical part of it together.
Yeah.
And Chad, you know, we work on the car and stuff, but the 6 car, they got Jake Knowles driving it right now, and they like to run out of town, and my job just won't let me go out of town a lot, so I'm kind of in that situation. You know, we might hit an out of town race or two, you never know.
Right. And that's when you run the 6 car.
Yeah, I hadn't run it in a year or so. I actually won the Ice Bowl in one of the 6 cars,
right,
with a 525 crate motor. But I hadn't run one since then. But, you know, you never know what the future's going to hold.
Well, I know I was surprised when I saw that you won the Ice Bowl in the 6 car, because to me, you've always been the 25 car.
Yeah.
And in fact, I told you before we started today that if I could have found it, I was going to bring it with me. I have a Tim Rozelle t-shirt that you gave me probably 6, 7, 8 years ago. It's a little faded, but it still wears well.
Well, a lot of people might not know that you was a race car driver a few years ago.
Oh man, let's don't talk about the Triple F.
I helped back that car, didn't I?
Yes, you did. You were the car owner, weren't you? Was you the car owner, or was you the crew chief?
I think I was a crew chief. I don't think I actually owned anything, but.
You know, we can talk about that now, and God, I wish Rufus was here to talk about it with us, because we had so much fun for a couple of weeks working that all up. And
it was fun trying to strap Rufus in the car, and the belts were too short.
And that, and on top, and then we couldn't find a helmet that would fit my head. I think I wound up wearing somebody's motorcycle helmet.
That's it. Yeah,
had the funny little face thing on it, you know, and everything. And you know what my most vivid memory of that is?
What's that?
We got out there, and of course we got going, and I laid my arm up on the, you know, I was doing the, you know, I guess I was doing the gas over on the right-hand side.
One person worked the gas and one worked the brake.
And yeah, the gas was on the right-hand side, and Rufus was driving on the left-hand side, and of course he had the brake. This was the 2-man cruiser class that they had. And we were running, and, you know, I mean, we were just cruising along, having a good time. And I just laid my arm up here on the side of the window, and Rufus brushed that thing along the wall on the front straightaway. And man, I like to jump out of the seat on that thing.
That was good days.
But that was a good-looking race car. Now
it was the Triple F.
The Triple F.
Mike Siskey owned that car.
That's right, it was Mike Siskey's, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was fun.
We had a lot of fun with that. That was back in our radio days before we got to all of this stuff. But man, it is great to visit with you. Continued success with the car. Race ought to be about ready to do this now, shouldn't he?
He's into street rods. He's into hot rods and stuff, like BMWs, and he's not into racing. But
are you serious?
Yeah, he's got a show car.
I mean, you gave him the perfect name to do this.
I know.
I can't believe you talked your wife into that.
I know. She talked me into it.
So what do you do during the week? Tell everybody about T&K Auto Trim before we let you go.
I cover interiors in cars, seats and stuff. I don't do antiques, but I do mainly like cars and you know, just the individual has a seat that's bad, I fix it, and headliners and stuff like that. I've been doing it for 35 years.
A long time.
Yeah, been doing it a long time.
Been doing it a long time. Shop's out on 202 here in Anniston. If you ever need anything, I swear by him. He is the best, and he's a lot of fun to hang out with at the racetrack. Go by the hauler and meet him if you're ever at Talladega Short Track. He is an all-around good guy. And you know, I think he gave Cruz a run for his money.
Well, I got socks older than Cruz, but I do need to give a shout out to Coosa Heating and Cooling.
Yeah.
They house my car.
Wait. Here's the sponsor part. I let Cruz do this, so we're going to let you do this. All right, here's Tim Rozelle. He's standing in victory lane, and it's his chance to tell us who all his supporters are. You better not leave Tony and them out.
Oh, yeah. Oh. Okay, I got Mike Rogers for Congress, a very good sponsor, and he's a very good man. He should be running for president, by the way. And VP Racing Fuels, which has helped me run better. VP Racing Fuels, Jack Green Oil is an awesome sponsor.
Yep, good.
And they sponsor your show too.
Absolutely,
by the way.
title sponsor right here on the Alabama Racer. Great racing gasoline and great racing additives as well. They call them additives.
Yeah.
You know, you and the Mad Scientist are a lot. Yes, you did. You sure did.
And T&K Auto Trim.
Which is your own company. That's out of your own pocket. That almost don't count.
That don't count. And
but you put it on there anyway. But it's a good tax deduction. You ever do that?
Heating and Cooling, Gore Electronics.
Who else?
And Stephen Jan's Barbecue.
Yes.
So
and you didn't bring any barbecue tonight. I can't believe it.
Every once in a while you come by the racing trailer and you can get a barbecue when Steve sends some to the races.
Yeah.
You know, he'll send us some every once in a while. But
they're real busy right now trying to win the best sandwich contest of some kind. I saw it on Facebook the other day.
Well, they got a buffet on Friday and Saturday night too. It's awesome.
To die for.
Yes. It's
to die
good.
for.
Very good.
All right, so enough for Steve and Jan.
All right.
All right, so anybody else? Well, we cover them all.
Let me think.
You probably forgot somebody.
I probably forgot somebody.
Yeah.
TV24 Tony, they're always good people.
Yep,
you know.
they help you out.
Yeah.
And of course, Tony's good folks as well.
Yeah, he really is.
He's on your crew.
He is. Tony Castaneda is on my crew. He's my sidekick. He helps me.
And he even helps us sometime on some of the other stuff we do.
Yeah, he's very good.
Good guy. All right, man, I got to let you go. Good to see you. Thanks for coming in.
Appreciate
Tim Rozelle joining us here on the Alabama Racer. When we come back, we'll get to this week's edition of the Racing Calendar, look at all the winners from around the state this past weekend, and what's ahead at the various tracks in the state as we come up on this Friday and Saturday's action as well. We'll be right back. Stay close.
This is Lynn Phillips, Talladega Short Track, and you're watching the Alabama Racer.
Daffron Auto Salvage in Pell City is where you'll find over 30 acres of automotive salvage, plus a warehouse full of quality parts for almost any need. Just call ahead and tell us what you're looking for. At Daffron Auto Salvage, you'll find it all. Engine parts, transmissions, rear ends, radiators, suspension, body parts, auto glass, even tires and wheels. You'll also get fast, friendly service. It's been that way since 1965. Don't pay too much for parts. Think used first. Daffron Auto Salvage, 793 Old Cold City Road in Pell City.
VP Racing Fuels introduces Madditives, fuel additives developed by the mad scientists. Race fuel technology for your daily driver.
VP Racing Fuels and Additives are available at Green Oil Company of Oxford.
Welcome back to the Alabama Racer. I hope you enjoyed my visit with Tim Rozelle as much as he and I did. It was lots of fun. Well, there was plenty of racing action to take care of from across the state of Alabama last weekend, and lots more on tap this Friday and Saturday. And we've got it all covered for you in the racing calendar, and it starts right now. We begin this week's look at the racing calendar with a new feature, the weekend racing forecast. And unfortunately, from Huntsville south to Dothan, it looks like wet weather occasionally is a real possibility, especially Friday. Now, Saturday looks better, but you should consult your local track on social media prior to heading out anywhere in the state either day. Now let's get to the schedule for this weekend and recap last week's winners across Alabama. When fans pack into Montgomery Motor Speedway, they expect to see lead changes in side-by-side racing, and Saturday night was certainly not a disappointment. Charles Davis picked up the win in street stock, while Brian Weimer raced home in first in super trucks. Dave Mader III outran his teammate Roger Rouse to capture the late model feature. Montgomery Motor Speedway returns to action on Saturday, May the 28th for the Show Me the Money Pro Late Model Memorial 100. It'll be 100 laps of great racing featuring the finest talent of pro late model drivers in the country. The night will also feature street stocks and the 64-lap contest to celebrate the track's 64th anniversary. The modified minis will also be showcased. The gates will open at 5, qualifying at 6. The features start at 7. Tickets are just $15 for adults, $10 for seniors and military, and $5 for kids 6 and 12. 5 and under are always admitted free. Now, Penton Raceway got their 2016 season off and running this past Friday with a bunch of race cars, eager fans, and a great show in all classes, including the Chevrolet Performance Super Late Model Series in a $2,000 to win 30-lap feature that went to Michael Page. Other winners last Friday at Penton included Josh Allen in Bandit, Richie Grantham in Hobby, and Jonathan Merritt in the Hot Shots. Weather permitting, Penton will be racing with a full regular show this Friday night. The gates open at 5 with grandstand admission $10 for adults. Kids 12 and under are admitted free. They'll fire them up this Saturday night at South Alabama Speedway with a 100-lap feature for the modifieds highlighting the action. Other divisions on the card include Street Stock, Road Runner, Coyote, Cup Light, and Mini Sportsman. The grandstand gates open and practice starts at 5 o'clock. Modified qualifying gets underway at 6, and the first green flag of the evening flies at 7. Admission is just $8 for adults, $5 for kids 6 and 12, and under 6 is admitted free. Friday, Saturday racing at Talladega Short Track continues this weekend, starting with the go-karts at Talladega Raceway Park with all classes in action on Friday. The grandstand admission is free. Congrats to last week's Raceway Park winners. Brody Clay goes 2 in a row in mini late models. JoJo Wilkinson in box stock medium. Hayden Ledner got his first win in green plate. Paul Poe in box super stock heavy. Tristan Gray in red plate flathead. Steve Hill in junior late models. And Trace Armstrong in purple plate. This Saturday, Talladega Short Track features another regular show in all classes. The gates open at 5 o'clock with racing at 7:30. Admission is just $10 with kids 9 and under admitted free. Congratulations to last Saturday night's winners at TST. Tim Rozelle goes back-to-back in late models. Munford's Victor Turner wins in crate late model. Jonathan Chapman in sportsman. Michael Blackney in Thunder Car. Steve Pate grabs another checkered flag in street stock. And Corey Presley took the win in the Hot Shots. Huntsville Speedway returned to action this past Saturday night with the Star Super Truck Series, Sportsman, and a special show with the Super Fast Baby Grands division. Congratulations to this past week's Huntsville winners, Chris Brown in Mini Modified.
Yeah, we worked on this car all week long, got it ready, been in the shop, races are won at the shop, I'll tell you that right now.
Ronnie Binkley in Baby Grands. Daniel Bradford in Super Truck, Jay Harmoning in Buzz, Brad Malone in Super Stock.
I want to thank the fans too for showing up.
Scott Hollis in Sportsman, and Louis Robinette in the Hot Shots. Huntsville Speedway is back in action this Saturday with races featuring the open wheel modifieds, limited late models, Super Stock, Mini Modifieds, Pro Buzz, Buzz, and Hot Shot divisions. Pit gates open at 3 with the front gates opening at 5. Qualifying starts at 6 and the first green flag flies at 7. Admission is just $10 for adults, $5 children ages 7 to 11, and kids 6 and under are admitted free. Let's head over to West Alabama to Sayre Speedway in Dora, where this Saturday you'll see limited modified, street, mini modifieds, Buzz, and Renegade classes in asphalt action. Sayre winners from last week's features include Dennis Lane in Buzz, Adam Gunner in Mini Modified, Corey Wood in Street, Henry Wade in Sportsman, Charlie Richardson in Renegade, Barry Martin in Late Model, and Robert Ham in Modified Lights. For you drag racing fanatics, they're running again this Saturday at Woodstock at Holiday Beach. The gates open at noon with qualifying underway at 2 o'clock. Racing includes Pro Bracket in a big $10,000 to win night, plus foot brake and junior dragster. Grandstand admission is just $10 with kids 12 and under admitted free. Congratulations to last Saturday's winners at Holiday Raceway, Dwayne Martin in Pro, Mark Herring in foot brake, and Kate Wright in that pink junior dragster. Fort Payne Motor Speedway hosted a full slate of racing this past Saturday night. The feature winners were Bo Shirley in super late model, Kyle May in crate late model, Justin McGatha in sportsman, Sean Guffey in A Hobby, Cody Medlock in B Hobby, Josh Battles in Pony, and Johnny Naiman in four-wheel drive. Racing continues this Saturday at Fort Payne with a full slate of action in all classes. Grandstand admission is just $12. Kids 12 and under are admitted free. And finally this week, the engines will be quiet Saturday night at East Alabama Motor Speedway in Phoenix City as they take the weekend off before next weekend's Memorial Weekend Spectacular, including their usual fireworks show. There were plenty of fireworks on track this past Saturday for the Jimmy Thomas Memorial. The Chevrolet Performance Super Late Model Series was in town for a big $3,000 to win 50 lapper, and local favorite Montana Dudley finally prevailed after battling Tyler Thomason and Ronnie Johnson for the win. Thomason came home second with Jake Knowles third, Johnson fourth, and Tim Boucher rounding out the top five. TQ for the feature was Tyler Crowder. Other winners from the Jimmy Thomas Memorial Night included Jay Elliott in Limited Late Model, Randy Renfro in Hobby, Gordy Scarborough in Street Stock. It was number 5 in a row for Billy Duell Jr. in the Road Warriors, and Chris Hobo Bosley picked up the win in Hot Shots. From the northernmost corner of the state at the foothills of the Appalachian Mountains all the way down to the emerald waters of the Gulf of Mexico to the south, you're up to speed on racing across the state of Alabama. Well, I see that we're just a lap or two away from the white flag, and I think the Alabama racer needs a quick wedge adjustment. So we'll duck in for that, and when we come back, we'll wrap things up. Stay with us right here on the Alabama Racer, presented by Green Oil Company, your local VP Racing Fuels and Additives distributor.
VP Racing Fuels introduces Madditives, fuel additives developed by the mad scientists. Race fuel technology for your daily driver.
VP Racing Fuels and Additives are available at Green Oil Company of Oxford.
We build things that work the way you wish they would. Like a front-end loader you can detach from your seat. Or a mower deck you just drive over and cut through knee-deep grass no problem. Yep, we thought the same thing you did. That's why we build them this way. That's how we run. Nothing runs like a deer.
We have a 95% customer satisfaction rating.
If you owe $10,000 or more to the IRS, are facing an audit, a lien, or levy, then call me right away. You're in charge with the Tax Admiral. Call me now for your free emergency consultation.
Call 800-218-4908. That's 800-218-4908.
Welcome back to the Alabama Racer. White flag is in the air, so that means we have to hustle to make it to the checkers. Got driver info to pass along, as well as a little house cleaning to take care of, so let's get right after it. First, Thomas Moose Prater. He's headed to Toledo this weekend to take care of some ARCA business at the Menards 200 up there this Sunday. Now, the last 2 trips to the Speedway have not been kind to the Moose, as you can see in this footage right here. This is from 2014 when Moose crunched his car in an accident the team has dubbed Foamageddon. You can easily see why. Well, last year it didn't come out much better for the Moose. Same thing, different end of the Speedway. This happened up in turn 1 in 2015. Moose collected the wall and crunched up a race car. Well, they've got their best short track car on the hauler on their way to Toledo right now. Carlos is in there, and Moose is certainly hoping for a good weekend, coming off that 11th place finish at Talladega Superspeedway a few weeks ago. Also headed to Toledo this weekend is Dustin Knowles, the Moody, Alabama racer. The last time we saw him, well, he was doing pinwheels down the back straightaway at the Talladega Superspeedway in the General Tire 200, spinning that number 14 and collecting the wall. And well, a good top 10 day turned bad real quick for Dustin. They're looking to, of course, go to Toledo and make things much better when the checkered flag falls there in the Menards 200. Now, a lot of people have been asking me about what Brett Holmes has been up to since his 10th place finish in his debut race at the Talladega Superspeedway 3 weeks ago. Well, Brett and his BHR racing team have had the Pro Late Model in the truck and logging miles into the Midwest the last 2 weekends. 2 weeks ago, Holmes was in Winchester, Indiana for a Pro Late Model feature. He qualified 3rd and got into a melee that was not of his own making and wound up finishing 15th. And then last weekend, the team traveled to Lebanon I-44 Speedway in Lebanon, Missouri, where Holmes raced in the Pro Late Model race and started 16th on the grid, finished 14th. Now, the next ARCA outing for Brett will be at Lucas Oil Raceway. That comes in July when the ARCA Series heads to Lucas Oil. Now, let's do some house cleaning. Let's start with tracks that need to get us information. If you want your track and your winners featured each week on the show, we need your information from you no later than 12 noon on Tuesday. You can email it to us right here at the Alabama Racer at fnnnetwork.com. There's the address on the screen. Plus, you can also upload information to us via Dropbox if that's necessary. Contact us and we'll give you the info. If you're a fan of the show and you want to watch, of course, we premiere each week at 8 p.m. right here at fnnnetwork.com. And I am so thankful to tell you that over 8,500 people watched last week's show on fnnnetwork.com at 8 p.m. on Thursday night, and that is just fabulous. We appreciate everybody tuning in and helping us spread the word about the Alabama Racer. Also, if you're like many people and you want to watch, well, at your convenience, that's why we upload the show to the FNN channel on YouTube each week. You can subscribe to the show by going to our YouTube channel and subscribing, and then you'll get notices via email that will let you know when the show has been uploaded each week, and you can watch whenever you like. You'll also get notices on all of our other things that we do, and of course be able to watch all the episodes of the show as they are stored there basically for eternity. Well, that's going to do it for this week's edition of the Alabama Racer. Thanks again to Tim Rozelle for joining me here in the studio. And remember, as you head out to your favorite racetrack this weekend, if you're not first, you're last.
VP Racing Fuels introduces Madditives, fuel additives developed by the mad scientists. Race fuel technology for your daily driver.
VP Racing Fuels and Additives are available at Green Oil Company of Oxford.